name's Nate Chambers. I am a defensive lineman, and I am technically a redshirt senior.
Congratulations on getting here. It's been a wild 15 months, to say the least. Looking back on all of it, the COVID, the spring season, playing free, practicing in freezing February, then all the kind of ups and downs of the roller coaster this year. What kind of jumps out to you as far as that journey and where it's taking you?
It sounds straight out of a movie. It's like a few years ago, if you would have told me that this is how everything would have lined up with COVID and how we had to adapt and adjust. And the last fall, not having a season, and then in the spring, having a third of a normal season, and very or less than ideal, weather and things like that. And, you have a full season of practicing and all that stuff, and then every week it seemed like every other week a game was getting canceled. Like, you can't make that stuff up. But for those who stayed, thankfully a lot of our guys did. It definitely builds character in a sense. Because I'm very grateful for the opportunities this last 15 months. It's just been very different, and just stuff that when it happened, it was very frustrating, very upsetting, and you're like, why me, and then looking back on it, it's like, okay, this is why. I felt a lot more prepared that when we finally had our full season again, and as a player, but also as a leader for this team. And I learned a lot of things through that initial period, COVID period, that if everything was normal, maybe I wouldn't have grown in certain ways where I ended up growing. And you could say that for a lot of the guys on our team, if not everyone, in some way, shape, or form.
Even this year, there were a lot of moments and a lot of kind of different things that happened where it would have been very easy for you guys to just throw in the towel. The 0-3 start, the injuries. There were several wins you guys had where you were down, sometimes by multiple touchdowns. For your team, kind of where did that fight back come from to get through that stuff and get to this point?
It was very weird. It was very because that wasn't normal adversity that teams face. When start 0-3, first two games were by single scores. Everyone's familiar with that. And then we get to the fourth game, you lose your top two quarterbacks, and everyone's like, well, dang, that's pretty much. Most teams look at that and they're like, all right, I guess we'll chalk this season up as an L, and for us it'd be like team 130's on the clock. But my guy Garrett Eisen, he had other plans, and I think there was some discouragement with those factors and things like that, not just with our quarterbacks getting hurt, but other circumstances, COVID still affecting us and things like that. But other people on the team stepped up in ways that maybe going into the season we weren't expecting to. The big one obviously would be Garrett. He stepped in, and not everything was perfect, but he made plays to help give our team a chance. And I think that when we saw that, okay, this isn't just a throwaway season. It started that people quickly got back into okay, we're still in this. We're still a good football team. There's just different personnel, and other people got those opportunities, and they made the most of it. And young guys stepped up big time this year. We had our top receiver, he got hurt early on, so we had younger guys who had to step up, and we have young D-line who rotate, and young linebackers who had to step up when things maybe were going sideways, and a position everyone had that instance where someone, it was, it was asked of you to step up and contribute maybe quicker than you were expecting. And, our coaches do a pretty good job of getting us prepared for when that time comes that you're as ready as you can be.
Yeah. You obviously, you're a fifth year senior. What really strikes me about the whole defensive line is just how many of those fifth year seniors, guys who you've spent your entire career with, are in that group. And it really seems like it shows on the field. You talk about kind of the bond you guys have as a unit.
Yeah, so we're all like really good friends off the field, and that helps. A lot of the guys we we have lived with each other or currently live with each other, and so there's a big camaraderie in our room, and everyone from the incoming freshmen to fifth year seniors, like there's no wall between us. There's no, oh, I'm an upperclassman, so I'm above you. It's like everyone, we jaw the same way at each other. We make fun of each other. I'm the butt end of jokes more than anyone in that room, and it's just it's like when you have that relationship with all the guys, and we're like immediately young guys are already they feel like they're a part of it. Like that's the recipe for just everyone wants to succeed. Everyone wants to see you be successful, and you want to see them be successful. And that's the healthiest way and one of the quickest ways to get an entire room, their game to another level. And I'm very blessed to say that I've been a part of that for the last two-ish seasons. Just, and yes, having a core group of seniors that all got along, that really helps lay the foundation. And it's just really cool that you see that with the younger guys too. You're not concerned when we're gone, it's going to be a step down. It's it's the opposite. We're excited. Brought in a young group of guys who show a lot of promise, and they felt accepted, right away. And it excites me as someone who helped lay that foundation, or that idea we're a family, and everyone will succeed in this room. If I'm excited to see the younger guys step up and then help the next group of freshmen that come in. It's just it's family over anything, honestly, in my opinion.
To finish your career as an All-American, when you look at where you started and kind of just the massive improvement and growth that you've shown over the course of your career, what did it take to kind of get to this point and get to this level as a player?
Ultimately, it took believing that I could do it, but it started. I think that it started with having a coach that sees it, because sometimes you don't see it, or you see part of it, but you don't see the whole picture. Whereas a coach, that's their job, and I think John Lindley is the best coach on our staff. No offense to anyone else, but I am significantly biased. He was hard on me from the very beginning, and my first couple years, it was hard for me to understand what was going on, because I was very not resentful, but I was kind of in that area towards him, because of how how hard he was on me, and how it didn't seem like anything I was doing was good enough. But looking back at it, I was hindsight's 2020. I see what he was doing. He saw something that at the time I didn't see in myself, and if it wasn't for him, I don't think I ever would have got to this point, even with all the hard work I've put in, physically. Once I got to that point of the mental, above the neck, that level of confidence, because I know that I've finally done. I did the right work. like not just working for working's sake, but like it was just like one day it was just like the flip was switched, and it was like I couldn't give you an exact date, but like just like if I didn't have a coach like Coach Lindley, that I may never have been to this point.